All right, everybody, welcome back. This is James Bond Bitcoin Live, episode 0011. Today I have several guests here. Let me first introduce Tone Vays. Say hello, Tone.
Hey guys, hey, glad another person hit the record button, man. We're getting everybody in one by one. I can't be on all the shows, but I do want to support new YouTube creators.
All right, thank you, Tone. Also with us is Danny from, what's the name of your show? Just introduce yourself and the show that you're on.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Danny. My channel name's YourLegitGamingVids, but LGV. And I've seen my videos before, just talking about all things crypto and crypto news and where I think coins are going to go to.
All right, thank you very much. And then Shaka Daniel from Chase That Coin. Appreciate you coming on the show. Tell us about you,
James. Thank you for having me. What's up, everybody out there?
All right, and of course, Brian McLaughlin, the guy who keeps winning my treasure hunts. And I think he's the only one who's ever going to win my treasure hunts. Introduce yourself, Brian.
I'm pretty new to the crypto space, about 4 months in, but I love it, and I love being a part of the conversation, and thanks for having me on again, James.
All right, you're welcome, guys. And for the audience and people in chat, please forgive us if there's some video problems. I have to actually manually click on each guest to get them on the main screen, so bear with us. All right, so first thing I wanted to talk about was, let's see, what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about the recent price dip and what everybody's take on it. Like, is this the beginning of the end, or is this the beginning of another uptrend? Who wants to take this question on first?
I'll take it on.
All right.
Of another uptrend. What I've noticed is a lot of times when crypto crash, if you want at a low point, all the people are trying to hurry up and just buy into it because they know they're going to end up not being able to see those prices again.
All right. Shaka, Daniel, what do you have to say to the price crash?
As far as the price crash, I did a video about this yesterday. The way I look at it, Ethereum is selling off, right? So the major sell-off in Ethereum is putting downward pressure on Bitcoin. Bitcoin already had a slight level of downward pressure, being that there's some confusion. Bit 148 is not gonna guarantee get support, and with the 2x, so there's already some downward pressure on Bitcoin. Ethereum selling off, putting some downward pressure on Bitcoin, and the downward pressure on Bitcoin is putting a strain on the whole cryptocurrency market as a whole. I personally think that we haven't closed below the 2100 support level for Bitcoin, so I'm not really too scared for Bitcoin. But as far as coins like Golem, Ethereum shot back up today. Well, we had a green day overall today, but there are some cryptocurrencies that are showing major continuous bearish price action signals.
Now did I hear you right? Did you say Ethereum was dragging down the rest of the market, or Bitcoin was dragging down the rest of the market?
It would have to start with Ethereum. Ethereum is putting sell pressure on Bitcoin. Bitcoin already had some slight downward pressure, and the sell-off in Bitcoin was putting pressure on the whole altcoin market.
Okay. Sorry about that. I thought I misheard you wrong, but all right. And then we're gonna go to Tone last because he's our super duper special guest. He'll probably have all the answers. But Brian, what do you have to say from a new person's perspective here on why the market dipped?
I would have to say that children get scared when their parents fight. And when people get scared and they're new to investing in something, they sell it. So that's it.
Do you really think that many people got scared and sold all their coins? Because even Bitcoin, Ethereum, the only thing that was up was Tether, which is a U.S. dollar pegged that most of the exchanges uses. Was everyone selling into Tether? Is that what you think, or were they chasing other coins?
I think it was greed. Like we always say that once people reach a profit on something, they're going to sell, they're going to cash out. So all of the recent ICOs, people are starting to get their profit. They cash out through Ethereum or Bitcoin. But it's the whole market is driven by speculation, buy and sell. What else can it really be?
Okay, good point. Yeah, I guess people got too greedy. And last but not least, Tone, please give us your take on the markets.
Sure. I'll pull up a chart. Now, if we take a look at it from far away, it is showing signs of a bubble. You get this exponential rise, and then you get a quick fall back and creates this bull trap right here, where it looks like we're gonna go back to a new high, and then we dip one more time. But it just doesn't feel like it to me. I know there's a wild card coming in about a month with the user activated soft fork and SegWit2x and all this nonsense. Just looking at Bitcoin, and you can't look at Bitcoin in isolation, in my opinion, because you have to look at the altcoin markets and how far they have, ran off. If anything is in a bubble, it's things like Ethereum that went from $20 to $300 in a span of a few months. So I can't see how Bitcoin is in a bubble. All Bitcoin did was double in value. Meanwhile, Ethereum has gone up, 15 times versus just 2 times. And zooming in on Bitcoin, yeah, this could be that return to range before the big drop, but we will know if there is a big drop. I mean, basically, if we get a lower close on a daily chart, that could pretty much open the door to some big Bitcoin falls. But right now, we know why the price went down so much after the all-time high, and that's because Bitmain announced they were going to hard fork, and hopefully they realized how dumb that was. The more recent fall, I don't think it really had to do with Ethereum all that much. I think the only influence that Ethereum had isn't direct, but when Ethereum flash crashed and it made the news, it might have made some new people a little more scared about the cryptocurrencies in general. And many people buy Bitcoin first, and then they go into altcoins. So when Ethereum flash crashes, I think it could have, scared some people from entering the crypto market, period. And maybe that caused a little bit of a drop in Bitcoin just by creating less demand. But I don't see how Ethereum would have directly caused Bitcoin to drop. Now, on the flip side, Bitcoin not able to scale kind of crashes all the altcoins, because if Bitcoin can't pull it off, what chance does anything else have? So that's kind of my view. I still think that technically yesterday's rebound off the low will be here to stay. I do think we're going to go up from here. And that's the chances. If we start to drop, if we fall back below 2,200, and then I'm going to start to get real worried. But it's like I said, it's a weird time right now with nobody knowing if SegWit2x beta is going to work. I think that's out in a couple of days. So we'll have some clarity. Yeah.
Tone, what chart is that right now? Is that the Ethereum chart, or is that the Bitcoin chart?
No, that's Bitcoin chart. I don't even have Ethereum open. I might have a. Do I have Ethereum open? I never even look at Ethereum. This is either Ethereum or Ethereum Classic.
Okay, I'm a little surprised.
This is Ethereum.
I'm a little surprised, Tone. I figured you would say that Ethereum is finally winding down, because I know I've been watching you for a while, and I agree with you on the whole Ethereum thing, that it's way overpriced. people are putting way too much money into this thing. I think it's just hot air. Matter of fact, if you've been watching my show, I would call Ethereum a toxic asset myself, because people are just taking Ethereum, putting it into ICOs, dumping the ICOs, getting their money back, getting back their Ethereum, and then doing the process over again. And it seems like all this money has just been built up on a house of cards. And the recent drop on GDAX, that was a $36 million Ethereum sell order that supposedly went down to 10 cents. That's a lot. Now, I look at signals when I do analysis on my charts and everything, but I think that's a definitely signal for people who hold Ethereum that there's somebody out there who just dropped how many, I don't know how many Ethereum that is. That's got to be a few thousand Ethereums.
Oh, 10,000, right? It's a $300 Ethereum price, 30 million, right? So it's 10,000 Ethereum.
Yeah. Someone just dropped 10,000, like dropped it, like dumped it.
Or 100, sorry, not 10,000 Ethereum, 100,000 Ethereum. The math in my head is wrong.
Even worse. I mean, that's a sign, isn't it? I mean, you've been trading on Wall Street. You know, when someone makes a big move like that, that's a sign. That's a whale who maybe have a feeling that this can't be sustained.
Here's the thing. It's not a whale. This is the problem. The problem is that at least 8 people were handed over 200,000 Ethereum 2 years ago off the Genesis block. And I believe this is one of those people that exited.
Right. Well, but shouldn't people like pay attention to that? Like someone who's in it, who probably has no risk, all of a sudden just dumps all their Ethereum. Isn't that the start of a bear run?
I've been warning about. I mean, I've been warning about this before Ethereum was even like tradable, right? I mean, because I knew this information, but nobody cares. I mean, everyone is waiting what the next great ICO on Ethereum is, but it feels like, here's why I think the bubble is coming to an end, because like the latest hype for the ICOs are non-Ethereum based ICOs, right? We're talking EOS, Tezos. I tweeted out about Qtum today, or Quantum, or whatever the hell that is. I mean, these are all like Ethereum competitors. So the new hype is going to be Ethereum competitors, and I think like after the last round of ERC20 tokens, it's going to be hard to beat. Right? Like, how do you beat Vinny Lingham? How do you beat Reggie Middleton? How do you beat Brave Browser? Right? You're going to have to get like a legit company to kind of ruin their company to try and create a token, right? Like Kick isn't important enough. You need something bigger.
Yeah, that Kick token's a joke, because everybody knows that Kick is used for basically sex trade or prostitution or sexting. Why would you want to buy a token that lets you buy Kick tokens and stuff like that? I mean,
well, I actually did not know that. You just said everybody knows that. I actually have no clue what that app is used for. I mean, I've met some of those people, but it's interesting. Like if anyone here watches the Silicon Valley show, I just learned that there's a law about making sure you're 13 before you use any of these chatting apps.
Yeah. If you go to like these infamous social media sites like Moco Space, which is kind of known for like sex trafficking, a lot of people use Kick, and basically you send pictures, your nude pictures of yourself, and it self-destructs, and a lot of people use that to kind of put themselves out there, or at least scam people.
How is it different than Snapchat? Isn't that what Snapchat does?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it seems from what my experience, because I checked out Moco a while back too, because I heard that's where a lot of people like get into the sex trade, and my friends told me that, right? And a lot of times you get hit up. Yeah, they did. That's when I got into Facebook. I don't even bother with Facebook, but all my friends were like, "Hey, you wanna get laid, or you wanna hook up with a girl? Try Moco." And I'm like, okay.
Wait, so what's Moco? So Moco is like what? It's another messaging app?
It's another social media site for like Facebook, except it's more. It's kind of known for, where you pick up girls, quote unquote, And
like a Tinder, like a cross between a Tinder and Facebook.
Yeah, kind of,
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And a lot of people hit you up and say, "Hey, go get kicked, because that's what that's how they communicate their little trade, you know. And it could be used for scams too. People like offering sex for
Well, then
service.
it's perfect. That I fully understand why they're going ICO. This makes so much more sense.
Well, that's a surprising tone. I figured you might. Well, maybe you didn't know, but now that people do know,
No, I didn't know.
that's
No,
good.
I didn't know. No, this makes way more sense now.
Yeah, but I do agree with you, Tone. I think the Ethereum blockchain, the status ICO, that probably killed it. That probably killed it. They're moving on to other blockchains. Matter of fact, when the price started crashing, I saw Ethereum Classic price go up. It was the only one that was bucking the trend for at least one day, and then it started going down. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more ICOs on these other chains. Let me move on to Danny and see what his thoughts are on this. I know you're invested in Ethereum. Do you have any ICO coins that you've invested in, and what do you think about these ICO coins?
I mean, with ICOs, I'm not really invested. I don't really go into ICOs like that. Just buying them off the Ethereum chain, because I'm not really a fan of them. A lot of them do seem like you buy the coin and then a lot of people after they get it just sell it. And a lot of people aren't in the ICOs for the long haul. So many more have been popping up on Ethereum that it's becoming more or less, it doesn't seem like they're full projects really. Make a quick buck off of some of them. Now some of them, yeah, they're legit, but definitely not my thing. I'd rather buy the coins that are already on the market. Like, I'd rather take Ethereum and coins that have stuff built around it instead of just going to a brand new coin that's coming out and being sold off through Ethereum.
Have you considered? I mean, because people are making money. Obviously, people have made money.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
On ICO coins, because you need Ethereum tokens to participate in the ICOs. But you haven't considered that. I mean, because that's what a lot of people are doing, and they're making money. As long as people make money, they'll never complain, and they'll keep doing it.
Yeah, I've given it thought. It's not like I've just completely written it off. I've definitely given it thought, even just for profits reasons. But so far, yeah, haven't gotten into it.
Okay. What other coins are you into? Can you just give us an idea of your portfolio? Because I know you make a lot of videos, and seems like you have a lot of coins.
Yeah, right now I've actually lessened a lot of my coins. I decided to focus on certain ones because before this, before like recently, I was more into trying to make quick profits with day trading and used that on and off for a little while. But right now I'm holding Ethereum, Golem, some Decred. I have a little bit of Bitcoin, but all the Bitcoin I get or buy, I usually invest into alts. Also had some Dash, had some Ripple, had Stellar. I've been loading up on Sia coin, and then my favorite coin that I'm holding that I have around 350 of them is Lisk. I've really gotten into Lisk.
Lisk, Lisk is another one of those coins where you could build off their network and Waves. Are those things that you're thinking about focusing? Because you kind of had the same. I mean, you might be onto something. If you're a trader and you want to make money, right? You saw what happened to Ethereum and people just building on their chain, these ICOs, but the price of Ethereum went up through the roof.
Right.
Would you? Is that something that just for trading purposes, of course, maybe long term? I mean, just from your perspective, you think these tokens that are similar to the concept of Ethereum, where you could build ICOs off of their network, their blockchains, is that a good investment to make money on?
In my personal opinion, I would say so. I mean, the way I look at it, Ethereum was at the same point that Lisk was at, and all these other huge coins now are at the same point that these other coins are now. And stuff that, like Lisk, you could build tokens using their blockchain, as well as having side chains to make sure that the main blockchain on there is decluttered and that transactions don't take a super long time because of it. Able to get into it now, and I mean, just looking at it now, Lisk I think is around $3 right now, and just a few months ago it was trading around 28 cents.
Okay, so you see the same trend going on with lists that you saw with Ethereum, essentially, and you think it's going to
Yeah.
explode in price. Now, are you investing just to make money, or do you invest for the long term and you believe in that particular coin in their project?
I would say definitely a little bit of both. I invest more into the long term because I see much more, I guess, more success in seeing a coin explode and making a huge amounts off that coin and having a coin that actually does something, and rather than taking just to trade them and make some quick profits. Yeah, that's nice. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone wants to just make profit, and at the end of the day, it comes down to your money and where you're putting it. But I'd say maybe 50-50 for both, to be honest with you.
Okay, and last thing I want to ask you, like, do you make videos specifically about the coins that you have in your portfolio?
I do it about all of them. I mean, mostly the ones I talk about more into depth, I have in my portfolio now, or I held them in the past. I'll go more into depth onto those and give like my personal opinions. When exploding on the marketplace, I will get a lot of people that either comment or they'll send me a message, either here on Facebook to talk about it, and they just want more information on it that I guess could be more easily explained. So I'll make videos for them if they ask for them.
Of course, they're coming to you to make videos because they probably see that being a new thing and they want you to do it. Okay, thank you, Daniel. Let me move on to Danny. Let me move on to Shaka Daniel. Chase that coin, baby. What's the new coin to chase, Shaka Daniel? Give us your scoop and take, considering all this stuff that's happened out here.
I honestly, man, like I said before we went live, like I've kind of really stepped back from in the last couple of days. I've stepped back from the whole altcoin trade, and the reason I trade altcoins is to acquire more Bitcoin. All right, with the technical analysis, the way I'm able to read price action, it would be silly for me to not want to take one Bitcoin and turn it into 10. All right, it would be absolutely silly for me not to be able to do that.
Have you done something like that? Have you had success with that?
Oh, I've had more than success with it.
Okay, explain the process. Like, how would you do that? Like, what coins have you done that with?
I've done it with BitBay. I've done it with Lisk. I was a part of the Waves ICO. I've done it with a few different cryptocurrencies. I've done it with Ethereum Classic, and I still, Ethereum Classic is the only cryptocurrency that I have, altcoin, that I have a active trade with right now. My portfolio is definitely much more so concentrated. It's split between a majority Bitcoin, a small amount of Lisk, and I have an Ethereum Classic trade open right now. But I just want to say this before I forget. Here's why I think Ethereum is not going to stay down. All right, Ethereum, out of all the cryptocurrencies, Ethereum has a cult-like following. All right, the faith in Vitalik is very high. All right. I think he's a smart guy as well. I don't know how smart, but I'm pretty sure people are willing to bet the house on Vitalik. Also, a lot of the ERC20 tokens, you need Ethereum to use them. All right. A lot of these tokens, you can't even move them throughout your wallets if you don't have Ethereum available. And on top of that, a lot of the ICO bubble has not popped yet. All right. There's a lot of.
You think it's popped for Ethereum?
Even if I do think it's popped, right? I don't think it's gonna stay down for long. I honestly do not think it's gonna stay down for long. Even on CNBC, even they're even talking about Ethereum being much better than Bitcoin. Do I think Ethereum is much better than Bitcoin? I would have to disagree. The only thing that I see it does. It has a slightly faster block time, but we all saw that get frozen a couple days ago
Yeah,
with
if
the
they
whole.
do one more, if they do one more major ICO, I mean, that would just literally freeze their blockchain.
Yes, it
Can you
will.
imagine it more?
It will, but I think people are willing to deal with the whole fact of the blockchain freezing in hopes that in hopes that Vitalik will fix it. All right. And I also think that uh, these other platforms are not ready. The only other platform that I can think that is ready for to take on other ICOs right now is the Ways platform. These other platforms are not ready, and I don't think people have as much belief in Sasha. I did a interview, me, Sasha, Leon Fu, Tizen. I was a part of that. I don't think that people have as much faith in Vitalik as they do in Sasha. All right. And you can just look at the way that the channels work. Omar's channel. I like Omar's channel. But anything to do with Ethereum, if you have a focus on Ethereum, it's going to take off. Omar's channel has almost 3 times as much subscribers as the World Crypto Network. All right. And the World Crypto Network has a lot of smart guys on it, Tone being one of them. Um, a lot of channels that just came out a month or two ago, they have as much followers, subscribers as the World Crypto Network. And that's because Ethereum has a very strong belief and a cult like following behind Vitalik. This is why I think even if it falls down, it won't be the same as how Bitcoin went from $100 to $30. It won't be the same as that because people will come in and swoop them up. It's the same idea as if Satoshi was active. If Satoshi was active, and Bitcoin prices would fall, there would be so much faith in Satoshi that people will come in and swoop Bitcoin up, and it wouldn't stay down for long. That's just in my opinion.
I think
Yeah,
Tone wants
but
to
the
say
but the difference, the big difference there is, Bitcoin actually has the ability to scale, and Ethereum doesn't. So the way this conversation started, yeah, a few more of these big ICOs, and it's obvious that it's the ICOs that have propped up the price of Ethereum. And with every ICO, it's like the earthquake's coming, right? You get it's like things are starting to shake. It's coming. There's going to be an ICO very soon that's going to break the camel's back, which is why all of these alternatives to Ethereum are trying to launch their product as soon as possible. And once Ethereum loses that ICO status, what good is it? It can't scale on top of it.
You know that, Tone, right? You understand
Yes.
that Ethereum can't scale. But people who hold Ethereum, there's no way that you're going to convince them that Vitalik cannot do it. If Vitalik can't do it,
Oh, I stopped. I stopped trying to convince them. At this point, they can just lose their money. At this point, when people start arguing with me about a coin like Ethereum, I just tell them, why don't you just sell your house and put all the money in Ethereum? It's the only way you can teach them a lesson now.
that's what I'm saying. It's the only way that people are going to understand that Ethereum possibly. I'm not smart enough to say that Ethereum can't do what it's saying it's going to do. I personally don't think it's ever going to get to proof of stake. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think Casper may never come out. All right.
wait. You said it's never gonna. You don't think it's ever gonna go proof of stake? I mean, it's been planned and hard coded to do.
It'll hard
so.
fork. It'll hard fork. There'll be another Ethereum because miners will not give up that reward. They'll stay with it.
It's gonna hard fork forever because it's baked in the code, and are you saying they're gonna have to hard fork it to unfork the hard fork? Basically, they have to hard fork it to kill that time bomb, the mining time bomb that they already coded in there.
Yes, they can do that, and that's possibly it's very possible that that's what's going to happen.
Well, if they do that, then the whole premise of everything that Vitalik set out to do is all false.
Even if the following behind Vitalik is insane, and the only way I think, even if something like EOS or anything else comes out, even the Waves platform or Ethereum Classic, even if they come out and they have a much better technology than Ethereum, wow, before anyone, a deep believer in Vitalik and Ethereum, gets the picture, they're still going to hold on to their Ethereum.
Okay. Let me have Brian jump in, since we haven't had him have a chance to talk. So go ahead, Brian.
Well, you gave me a chance to answer earlier. It's just a very brief answer that I gave to a different question. On this topic, first of all, it sounds like everyone agrees that Danny's strategy of investing in other coins who can be a platform for ICOs off their chain, it sounds like everyone agrees with that. Secondly, it sounds like everybody here pretty much agrees that Ethereum is going to fall under its own weight at some point. And I understand what you're saying, Shaka, about the zealots, right? You're right. Well, what they're going to do is end up holding it out, riding it out. They're going to hold on to their Ethereum, and they're going to lose all of their money. And we're going to lose them from the space even if they don't get out.
Okay, very interesting.
I don't think the following is that strong. I mean, like, look, Bitcoin is awesome because it has no leader, and I mean, this following over Vitalik, I mean, it's no different than the following over Dan Larimer. It'll switch. I mean, there'll be another, you know, self-proclaimed developer prodigy that's going to show up, right? I mean, well, like, none of these guys are that committed. I don't think that, I mean, Vitalik has never looked healthy to me, and everything that's going on with Ethereum, I mean, I'm busy as hell. I can only imagine Vitalik. And I've actually tried texting Vitalik recently. He's not getting back to me. Not that he normally does, but I mean, I can't see Vitalik being with this thing forever. I mean, he's gonna. I don't know, like, how healthy that is. I mean, he's gonna have to walk away.
Let me bring this up then, because there was a big rumor about Vitalik died in a car crash. Obviously, he tweeted out with the blockchain that apparently it's not true. But you're right about Bitcoin. It has no leader, and it's done very well. Now, let's say for some reason, I mean, obviously Vitalik can't live forever, and maybe you're right, he's not looking good. What if he does die? What's going to happen? Do you think Ethereum will survive just like Bitcoin survived?
Oh, it's a huge problem. I mean, if that article was real, I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum fell like 80%.
Because he died. Is Ethereum really, do you think Ethereum centralized?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think the foundation has way too much control. And once it goes proof of stake, I mean, whoever has a lot of Ethereum has a lot of control. I mean, this is the problem with proof of stake systems, which is why I never even considered proof of stake systems blockchains. But yeah, I think having a leader like Vitalik is actually a big problem. It's not a good thing. It's I think it's actually a problem. And just like the fake articles alone, right? The fact that you can write a fake article like this about Vitalik and, you know, cause a panic that led to Vitalik tweeting out that picture of him holding, you know, the hash of the most recent block. And if you go back to that tweet of Vitalik, the funniest reply was from Mike in Space, who replied, in order for that, you know, in order for you to prove you're alive, your blockchain needs to be immutable. I thought that was like the most hilarious reply.
Yeah, that is funny. But do you think the price that dipped down, it dipped down pretty hard over the weekend, and that's when the news came out of his death. Do you think that there's a correlation there? Was his news of his fake death?
You know what? I want to chalk it up to coincidence, but on the flip side, you know, if you do know this article's coming, and you're the big seller dropping the market, and you then set all these buy orders real cheap, that guy that sold all that Ethereum could have made lots of money. Because remember, like, that order that $30 million order was actually filled relatively okay. It was towards the end of that order where the leveraged positions started to automatically liquidate, and that caused, the big waterfall. So, like, it's hard to speculate whether the guy that put in that order was an idiot, did it by accident, or did it on purpose because he was smart and knew what he was doing. Without, knowing the order book, and without, having all the data in front of you to analyze it, nor the expertise to analyze it, which I kind of don't. If I had my, knowledge of the markets and coding skills and all the data that I to code with, I would be able to take a look. But you don't know which one it was. But the probability that that guy was like an idiot for selling that, and the fact that the guy was very smart for causing that panic and potentially knowing there was this like bullshit article coming out, there was lots of money to be made.
So Tone, let me ask you, even with the slippage of that market order, the guy still made out if he put in a buy order over the weekend that the price dropped, and maybe he picked up a few cheaper Bitcoins, or not cheap.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the other way to do it is, and I've talked about this years ago, I even wrote about it in articles back in Cointelegraph. I mean, there's futures on Ethereum all over the place that you can trade at, like, 50 to 1 leverage. He might be selling 30 million worth of Ethereum, but all he had to do was put 1 million on a short contract at 50 to 1, and he made huge money shorting while he's dropping the market. Right. That's one thing he could have done. And the other thing he could have done is, knowing that the article's bullshit, or knowing that he's the one guy that caused the panic and it's going to bounce back, could have bought it all the way back up. Well, like, you just don't know. And this is one of the reasons why I find trading Bitcoin not to be the most ideal. It's kind of like playing poker. Anyone on this panel a poker player?
I am.
So
yeah,
I'm also a poker player as well.
So here's the thing, right? When you sit down at a table, would you rather sit down with, like, someone that knows how to play poker real well, or someone that barely knows how to play the game and is totally unpredictable?
Oh, I love the unpredictable guy.
I rather the person who knows how to play, because in certain situations he's gonna do the smart move.
Right, I agree. I prefer that one also. And the trouble that I find in trading in the Bitcoin space is because I can't tell a professional from an idiot, and that's not how I like trading.
You guys are crazy. I take the idiot. I would play against the poker guy who's the idiot. So you guys are dumb.
Yeah, but that's when you're gonna get sucked out on from a 2-3, and he catches a straight on the river.
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point. But I still take the idiot over the professional, because he'll fold and not lose his money. Anyways, let me go to Danny real quick here. And so, Danny, the news of Vitalik's death. Did you hear about that over the weekend, and what was your reaction if you did?
I saw the article, and at first I didn't realize whether or not it was fake or real. So before I even had a reaction, I just went to go see to make sure how authentic it was, and turned out to be fake. But in terms of the price, I think I have to agree with Tone in saying it was a coincidence. Unless someone really planned this out, even if the person who was planning to sell or something like that and was planning to cause a drop in the market, I don't think that news alone just made it drop like that.
Okay, so
the thing is, just one more comment. Like, usually, like, it's never one event. Like, usually, like, when it rains, it pours. Like, when something bad happens, and then something else, and then something else, these things always come in waves. It happens in traditional markets. It's like you're always putting out fires. If you guys ever like ran a company, if you ever had a business, you know that once one thing starts going wrong, like, everything starts going wrong, and you get into like a car accident on the way to work. It's like it's just like bad shit always comes in like 3s and 5s and whatever.
So is there more to come? Is there more to come? Because if this is a wave, are we just cresting or hitting this wave?
I think there was enough bad news this month, like between what Bitmain's doing and what's happening in Bitcoin, and Ethereum shutting down, and some crazy guy selling, and articles about Vitalik's death. I think we've persevered. I think this month it should be a little bit of a breather, and just trying to figure out the Bitcoin stuff. I think there'll be a lot more focus on Bitcoin now that it's getting towards crunch time of August 1st.
All right, let me go to Shaka Daniel and ask him about what his thoughts on the Vitalik news. So you heard everybody else's response. What's your response to that? Shaka, are you with us?
Are you talking? Okay. I personally, once I clicked the link and I saw where the news was coming from, I automatically discarded it. And I don't think that it had much to do with the price selling. Once the status ICO, because I had a few Ethereum, right, and I was trying to move my Ethereum over to an exchange and trade it into Bitcoin. Once I saw it had a prompt up and it said, "Do not move your coins unless it's urgent." And in my mind, I was like, okay, it's urgent. I need to urgently sell this Ethereum and get some Bitcoin. And once the day went on, and I kept seeing posts about the blockchain freezing, right then and there, I knew that Ethereum was going to sell off. Okay. Right. So, and then they came out with the whole, "Oh, Vitalik is dead." And I saw where the news was coming from, and I was just like, this is definitely 100% fake. But I don't think it had much to do with any downward pressure in Ethereum. The status ICO and the GDAX situation definitely caused a lot of downward pressure. But like I said before, I do not know how long it's going to stay down. People are expecting it to be like comparable to how when Bitcoin shot up a lot in price and then it corrected. But I don't think that the correction, I think that there's a lot of people outside of crypto that are making their way in that are definitely going to come in and scoop up some Ethereum, because all of my friends, I've been talking to them about cryptocurrency for years, and they've ignored me. But when they do find their way into cryptocurrency, the first thing that they come up to me and talk about is Ethereum. So I don't know how long it's going to stay down.
Dude, I got the same problem.
That's what I'm saying. Ethereum, even mainstream news, it's being implanted in everyone's head, Ethereum. So that's why I don't know. It may correct, but it's not going to be a normal correction, because there's always going to be people in there that think $190 Ethereum is cheap.
Yeah, what's up?
All right, let me go to Brian and see what his thoughts were on Vitalik's death here, and how he reacted, or if he reacted at all.
Well, as soon as I saw what had happened, that he had passed away, I immediately sold all 12,572 of my Ethereum. That might have had an effect on the price. I don't know.
Are you joking?
Absolutely.
All right.
I've only had one Ethereum in my entire life, and I traded it for Doge. And I've actually made more money on the Doge than the value of that one of Ethereum, even with the bump up. What people need to remember is, all of you have said this, there's a lot of new money in this space. And we all know that scared money makes no money. And they're getting out. They're coming at a time when there's a lot of uncertainty with everything. But they don't understand that even with the price drops recently, dear Lord, every single coin out there almost is worth double or 2.5 times than it was 3 months ago. Still, even with all the dips going on this week, it's still worth way more than it was just 3 months ago. And I've heard you say this, it's not how much you're into it, it's how long you've been into it, James.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, the longer you're in this trading game, the more coin or the more money you're going to make. But if you're new and you're playing the game of when to get in and when to get out, you're probably going to lose money. So now let me stay on you for a little bit, Brian. The price did bounce back today. And so we had a nice, I would call a dead cat bounce, maybe. Do you think this is the beginning of a recovery back to the moon, to the Jupiter, to Mars, or are you expecting more turbulence?
Well, there are going to be those folks out there who do see the cheap Ethereum and they scoop them up. But in the long term, Ethereum has way too many problems that will not be addressed. They're going to be incapable of addressing them, and that's why switching to another coin that serves a similar function is a wise idea.
Did you want to say something, Tone?
No, I agree with that. I agree with that, and that's the function of these altcoins and platform coins like Ethereum. They're all very fungible. Like even all of these ICOs that launched on Ethereum, there's no reason why that ICO can then relaunch their tokens on, let's say, Ethereum Classic or Rootstock, and then reimburse people, one for one. They'll have a window, kind of like what the Indian government did. We're gonna remove certain currencies from circulation, and you have X amount of time to give you like a month to like redeem them on the other side. So they can do that. They can like intake other coins, so they can always migrate these things from one to the other, or they can just relaunch and do like another ICO on another platform, and then let the Ethereum, kind of like die out. And you can kind of blame it all on Ethereum, right? I mean, this is amazing. Like Vitalik is now solely responsible for all of these ICOs because they're built on top of his platform, right? I mean, this is the crazy part. I don't see how like he won't be blamed if one of these ERC20 tokens just completely falls apart because of Ethereum. And that's what could be one of the things that will force Vitalik out, and he'll just disappear. I mean, that's a big problem. Again, this is a problem that Bitcoin doesn't have to worry about.
But what about Rootstock? Like, what about Rootstock? Could that be a potential problem? Because we've seen what happens to Ethereum. Like, Ethereum's a fucking big experiment that we're all learning from. The DAO hack. We're seeing what happened with that. Now we're seeing what's happening with these. In a lot of ways, these are nothing more than side chains. Would you say something like that? That's what Rootstock would be. And then do you think that might be a hazard for Bitcoin? Because if we start doing the same shit what we did with Ethereum, wouldn't that slow down the blockchain and cause massive delays and actually give it more risk than what's needed?
And are you going to be as critical about ICOs on Bitcoin as you are on other platforms?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not even sure Rootstock is a good idea. And not only that, if something goes wrong on Rootstock, can Rootstock be liable? Because remember, Rootstock is a company. There are people in charge. You can't really blame anything with Bitcoin. And this is also another reason why we need SegWit and we need Lightning, so that this shit is happening off-chain and not on-chain. And another reason to keep blocks at 1 megabyte, because if you let these other people have their hands on it, they'll just keep doubling the block forever until the node is unreasonably big, too much data, historically. So keeping Bitcoin stable, keeping Bitcoin reasonable in size, the history of the blockchain will go a long way, and it may deter some of these ICOs from launching on Bitcoin, because right now you still have Vitalik to fix your problems, and Bitcoin doesn't really work like that. But yeah, I will absolutely be as critical with most of these ICOs on top of Bitcoin, because I don't think that's what Bitcoin's for.
Okay, what about the recent bounce in price? Is that a dead cat bounce, or is this going to be the beginning of a recovery and we'll all be millionaires?
In Ethereum or in Bitcoin?
Oh, just in general, because lately it seems like if Bitcoin goes down, all the tokens have gone down, all the altcoins have gone down. But when Bitcoin goes up, all the other tokens have gone up. There seems to be a strong correlation recently that when most of these coins are almost going in the same direction. Before, it used to be, when Bitcoin went down, Ethereum went up, and all the altcoins went up, and then when Bitcoin went up, altcoins and Ethereum went down. We're not seeing that anymore. And
no, at the moment they're all pretty correlated, because look, everything depends. Everything goes back to Bitcoin being able to scale. If Bitcoin is able to scale, it'll kind of lift all the boats. And if Bitcoin is not able to scale, then we got problems everywhere. So yeah, it's a little too early to tell if we're going to be at all-time highs. But as of yesterday, I tweeted out that I think we are going to go up. But anything can happen. Like, just if Bitmain puts out another bullshit article, then things could get ugly.
Okay, let me go to Danny and get your thoughts here, Danny. What do you think about the recent bounce in price today? Is that the beginning of a new, bold trend here? Are we all going to become millionaires?
To be honest, for me, I would say it's kind of hard to tell right now. I don't think it's going to immediately just skyrocket. I think it's going to be more of a steady increase in price. So I don't really see Ethereum just shooting up to anything like $500, like how it's done.
Well, you know what's funny? Okay, okay, you probably hold Ethereum. I know Tone does. So I'm not even going to bother asking Tone. But you heard about this flippening, right? This flippening that Ethereum market cap is going to take over, and it came within like maybe 10 billion or $10 billion worth. It came very close, I guess, if you can call that close. But it didn't, right? It actually came close, and then it separated. It separated a lot now. Is there a possible chance that could ever happen, considering what's happened with the price recently?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I see Ethereum over time. I think it's going to be, at least for now, I think that's the only coin price-wise with that large amount of coins. It's going to be able to compete with Ethereum, if you can call it that. Now, I'm talking like years down the line, years when Ethereum's price is way above where it's at now.
See, I think the opposite side. I mean, if it happens, it would happen within the next 3 months. Like, if that happens, I think it'll happen this year or never.
Why is that known?
Well, because right now Bitcoin is still having its scaling problems. Once Bitcoin gets SegWit, and once we finally, make sure that we're not going to hard fork to 2 megabytes, I think then things will go smoothly as Ethereum's blockchain continues to grow exponentially, creating their own scaling problems, which they're not going to be able to resolve. So Ethereum has a very small window to cross the market cap of Bitcoin. Now, I do not believe that would happen, but if it happens, it'll happen for like a day, and then that would be the final nail in Ethereum's coffin. Kind of like when we all celebrated when Bitcoin was greater than the value of 1 ounce of gold in 2013. It was higher for about 3 hours, and then Bitcoin took, an 80% nosedive, and it didn't come back to meet the price of 1 ounce of gold for like 3 more years till recently.
Okay, yeah, good point. Let me go to Brian here. Go ahead, Brian. You're still on mute, Brian.
Yeah, I got it now. All right. What's your question, James?
Oh, did you say something, or was that somebody else?
Yeah.
Well, I just agreed with what Tone was going to say and was going to support the argument, but he basically covered it, so I'm good.
Okay. All right.
I have a question for him about Ethereum, though. Are there any other case studies or actual usages of smart contracts other than ICOs?
No. Well, there could be, but they're kind of useless, right? Because I've made this argument many times, and hopefully I'll be filming my next episode of Crypto Scam soon. Decentralization is only needed when you're trying to prevent censorship. If you're not preventing censorship, you really don't, not only do you not need decentralization, you don't want decentralization because it's grossly inefficient. You only want decentralization when it's worth it. And Bitcoin needed decentralization. I mean, we have no, all our payments are censored by the government. That's not the case with contracts. And don't confuse smart contracts, and I don't mean you personally, but people shouldn't confuse smart contracts with decentralized contracts. Those are very different things, right? Like a smart contract just means a self-executing contract. That is completely independent of a decentralized contract, whether it's a smart contract or not. But if you're decentralizing it, it has to be a smart contract by default. It's being decentralized so that it can self-execute. But you can create a centralized self-executing contract. And the reality of the situation is, unless you have a censorship problem where the people in this contract need to be anonymous, whatever that contract is about needs to be anonymous because, you know, there's illicit things there. Now, I'm not saying every Bitcoin payment needs to be anonymous because it's illicit, but every, you know, payment is generally censored. We have middlemen that are doing it. When it comes to contracts, you don't necessarily need, you know, like overbearing middleman. They're not censoring you, right? I mean, the world functions on fair contracts. Therefore, decentralizing smart contracts only makes sense when your contract actually has the possibility of being censored, and usually by the government or by, you know, some kind of a third party. Now, I know everyone is mad at companies like Google and Facebook that, you know, well, they see all of our information and then they sell it to the highest bidder. Well, there are ways of opting out. Maybe they will one day give you the option of paying them in order not to sell your data. You know, that's one way, because look, the services that YouTube is providing us isn't free. Like, it's not cheap either. I mean, look at us. We're having a live hangout that's being recorded and stored in high definition on Google servers, right? So we perhaps they can give us an option to pay for it so they don't have to spy on us and sell us our data, right? So these are, you know, things that we can kind of discuss as a society, I guess, or provide a platform. The problem is no one's going to pay you. Brave is finding this out, which is why they've gone the scam ICO route, unlike, you know, what Chrome is doing.
Hey,
so
go
ahead. Sorry.
Do you remember when the DAO first came out and how the DAO was going to save the whales? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I have videos telling you how all your Ethereum is going to be stolen out of the DAO. I mean, and that's the thing, right? So you have to realize what decentralization is good for and what it isn't good for. And I always have this argument with like people on Facebook. Well, we need Steam it. I mean, look at Facebook. Facebook is just stealing from us. It's stealing from us. And I'm like, well, you know, Facebook is a public company, right? You know, Facebook stock was $20 5 years ago. And today, Facebook stock is almost $200, right? So you could have made 10 times your money by buying Facebook stock instead of complaining that it's stealing your data.
All right.
You could have profited from that.
All right. Let me go to Shaka Daniel. Let him have an answer to our question here of the market recent bounce. Did you have a chance to answer that? And are we recovering? Are we going to go up? How's the market look now?
It really depends on how you're looking at it. That's the thing about technical analysis. Technical analysis is different from everyone's different perspective, and depending on the tools that you're using. I like to use naked charts, support and resistance, and price action.
So what is that? Bitcoin you're looking at? Bitcoin on Coinbase?
Yeah, this is BTC USD Coinbase. I also a lot of people like to use indicators. I personally do not like to use indicators. The only indicator I use is a lagging indicator, which is the moving average, is a 7 and 14 moving average. I don't use it for entry. I use it more so for confirmation of my trades that I've already entered, and I use it as an advanced form of support and resistance. So I mean, as far as Bitcoin, we're getting multiple bullish price action signals. All right, around a level, around the top. So as far as Bitcoin, as long as Bitcoin, this is the first level to me. All right, and that's 23. Let's call it 2,400. All right, and the second level would be down here around 2,100. So if we break 2,400 and close below it, all right, the thing about trading and the thing about technical analysis, the market, no matter how strong the support level, the Fibonacci level, whatever it is that you're using, the market loves to temporarily break below these levels. So as long as we do not close below, we may close below 2,400. That's nothing. As long as we don't close below 2,100, I'm not really gonna get scared. Right here with Ethereum Classic is a perfect example of what a lot of the markets did yesterday. All right, yesterday they broke down. All right, a lot of people were scared. Well, not yesterday because the candle closed at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the day before, the market it pushed down. We saw a lot of 20% losses.
That's a Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, right?
Yes, this is Ethereum Classic to BTC. If we look at the Ethereum chart is looking very similar to what Bitcoin is showing. All right, even though we don't have multiple price action signals, we definitely have a price action signal here.
What hour chart is that, Shaka?
I personally like to use the 1 day time frame, but a lot of these crypto altcoins, they're newer. All right, so you have to come down to something like a 4 hour or.
Okay, but the one you're looking at right now is 1 hour on the Ethereum.
No,
it's a daily.
This is the daily.
Okay, that's a daily.
Yeah, this is the daily. Ethereum is mature enough for us to look at the daily, but a lot of these different altcoins, they're not mature enough for you to look at the daily. So you have to go to something like the 4 hour or the 1 hour. I'm not looking at anything lower than the 1 hour unless we have something like we had the day before yesterday when the market flash crashed. When it wasn't really a flash crash, but it was a big sell-off. When the market sells off big like that in a day, what I would do is I would come down to the 30-minute time frame and I would look for some kind of bullish price action within the 30-minute time frame to ride this candle back up. So if you really know how to trade, there's people that made a lot of money off of these situations. The market, in my opinion, from my technical analysis, the market in certain alts is showing a lot of strength. And Ethereum is showing some strength. We may get a push back up. I'm gonna officially call it a push back up once we close above the 14-day moving average. All right.
Okay, so you're calling for a direction to break upwards for Ethereum.
For Ethereum, if we close above the 14.
Right, that's the signal you're waiting for, right? You're waiting for that
signal
to break above that average.
Yes, because the market can easily push up into the 14, and the way that I use these moving averages as a form, advanced form. All right, so they're spread out. All right, they're not close to each other. When they're close to each other, the market needs a lot of volume to break and close above. All right, but since they're spread out, the market can easily enter what some people call no man's land and hit the 14 moving average, and we could get a big bearish price action signal, which would be a
so if it doesn't break above that 14 moving average, it's pretty much going to come down, because it's either one of those things. Usually you got to break above it and stay above it, or if it doesn't, that's a sign of weakness. That's going to just drop down.
Yeah, if we get a bearish candle, especially a bearish engulfing, and we close below the 7, I'm definitely seeing some more downside. And I like to talk in satoshis. So we're seeing some downside to 5,700,000 whatever satoshis.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's got to break above that to turn it over, because the two averages look like it's reversed on the daily. So it's got to move upwards to bring that back up. So Tone, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, hey Chase, I actually agree with everything you said. That's pretty much what I said on my video today about Ethereum. Except the 14 period moving average. I just don't look at that.
Tone, you did a video on Ethereum
today, yeah. Well, okay. It was part of my today I just went on altcoins on my economic thing. So I talked about Litecoin, Ethereum because I had the charts, and for the first time ever, I talked about Monero today too.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Anybody else? Hey, Danny, do you have any price predictions coming up for any coin of your choice?
Let me just say something real quick because I do have to go, guys, and I'll leave it to you. But right. This was my chart from my video earlier today, and I was using the moving average. That's my blue, and I basically talked about how it keeps bouncing off of it. So that was like perfect 2 days in a row. It is going higher, but it never came back. It never tested support. And my support is right there at 0.06 Bitcoin, just to round off the number. And the moment we start coming back down, if Ethereum starts closing below the previous closing lows, and at the moment it closes below the 50-day moving average, put a fork in it, and it's at the least, it needs to come back and test this level right here, which is 0.06, which is a 50% drop from current level.
All right. So you're using the 50-day average as support. So if it breaks that support, you're saying it's it's going to go down further to that 50% Fibonacci?
No, that's just like the previous high, the previous double top high.
50.
Yeah. So it's just a 0.6. Yeah.
Which could be used as a Fibonacci too, if you put a Fibonacci line in there, 50%.
Oh man, you know what? I can throw a quick Fibonacci on it right now because it's fairly simple. So let's see. I don't know where it would be. So let's find out real quick.
Tom, while you're doing that, why do you use such high moving numbers for your moving average? You're gonna get you're not counting on the crosses then, or when it does cross on such a high time frame, it's more significant to you. Why do you do that?
Force a habit from traditional trading.
Okay.
Right. So it looks like Ethereum bounced off of the 38% Fibonacci, and right now the 50-day is about to cross the 38% Fibonacci. So like we went through it, hit the 50-day, came back up, never closed below the Fibonacci line. That line is in the vicinity of the 62% Fibonacci. So,
okay, 62%. All right, all right. Very, very good, Tone. Thank you very much. If you have to go, appreciate you having on. And Tone, before you leave, let the audience know where they can find you. I'll put your info in the notes section.
So I also have a podcast 2 to 3 times a week on my YouTube channel. You can just Google my YouTube channel as Tone Vays. My website is libertylifetrail.com. You can also catch me on the World Crypto Network YouTube channel. And keep an eye out for my podcast, Crypto Scam. It's also on SoundCloud. I need to, finish up Ethereum and then move on to other tokens and projects in the space. That's pretty much about it. And keep an eye on me speaking at a town near you because I do travel a lot and speak at conferences.
All right. Thank you, Tone. I appreciate it. Your information and channels is in the notes section. Thank you for coming by. Hopefully we can have you on again. Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone. Glad to be on. Good luck with your channel, man. Later.
Thank you. All right. Danny. Okay. Danny, do you have any coins or any chart analysis that you like to offer us? Anything that you're interested in now?
I would say, well, the 2 coins I'm mainly looking at right now to make a run, one of them is being Lisk. I think a lot of what's caused a lot of it, I think, is the hype behind the SDK coming out, as well as the rebranding of Lisk and them getting a new logo and everything like that, trying to rebrand themselves. I think that's been a lot of the hype. Not all of it contributing to the price point, but a lot of it that led it to go to $4. So I think once all of that stuff is dropping, I think Lisk is going to start hitting, it's going to surge and maybe even hit double digits.
Lisk is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any maybe do you do any chart analysis? How do you come up with your picks and your trends and everything? Can you explain to us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, with my picks, I do a little bit of chart analysis, but mainly I'll look at the charts just to figure out a price point that I'm going to feel comfortable getting in at. In terms of looking at a coin and investing in it, I look at a coin basically what it's going to bring to the table. So Lisk, for example, seeing that it was a cheap coin and that it has so much to offer, especially since it's going to be using JavaScript, enabling a lot of developers, since JavaScript is one of the most used languages right now. And to be honest, it's one of the simpler languages to learn, I would say. All that into one package, as well as the ability to do almost the same thing as Ethereum and to be able to create tokens on the Lisk chain. All of that together is where I decided to buy into a coin. I don't just look on just price analysis per se and just on chart analysis.
Okay, and tell us how you get your coins. Like, what do you put fiat currency into one of these exchanges? Do you trade your Bitcoin or other altcoins? Do you just trade among other virtual coins? And where do you trade? On what exchanges?
Currently, right now, I'm using Poloniex. Even though I know they've had a lot of problems, but I still feel Poloniex is the easiest to use.
Are they still able to withdraw? Danny, are they still able to withdraw? I hear a lot of problems with that.
I mean, one thing a lot of times is there's certain points where certain coins, you're just not able to withdraw them, and it's disabled for a certain period of time. And Ethereum, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they enable withdrawals in that yet. I haven't checked. I don't like to hold all my coins in the exchange. That's the ones I'm going to trade at the time. But when I do use an exchange, it's either Poloniex or Bittrex, and I'll just put my Bitcoins there and trade it. Unless I think an altcoin is going to make a quick dip, and I could hopefully sell high and then buy in when it gets back lower, or trade for another coin that I think's on the low. I'll do that as well. But most of the time, I'm buying altcoins with Bitcoin.
Okay, so you're trading you're trading your altcoins for Bitcoin. So are you trading up or are you trading down? Is that what you mean?
Well, I mean, usually instead of let's say trading one altcoin to get into another, most of the time I'm just buying Bitcoin and using that to either buy into my coin, or I'll just trade Bitcoin for the other altcoins.
Right, because most of the time the conversion is from an altcoin to Bitcoin. Is that correct?
I think it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, or Bitcoin. What I'm saying, the trading pair is altcoin Bitcoin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay, there's not that many. There's very few that actually are traded to the U.S. dollar or Tether.
Yeah, it's just a select few on Poloniex.
Okay, all right, awesome. And then Shaka Daniel, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, tell us, give us your picks and why you think they're going to go up, or even give us your downs. I should ask everyone what their up and downs are. So I mean, because you can make money shorting too. Am I right?
Yeah, you can make money short in the market, but I there's two things that I do not advise people to do. Do not trade the market on margin, and do not short cryptocurrencies. The reason that you should not,
or you could tell us a good buy and a good sell, because you can sell into whatever fiat currency or Bitcoin, but give us your choices of a good buy and good sell.
right now, I think a good buy would have to be. I agree with Danny. Would have to be Lisk. Also another good buy. These are the only two that I'm looking at right now. Lisk or Ethereum Classic. They're both, to me, very good buys. Of course, because the technicals are looking good for both coins. Also, I like to use technicals and some fundamentals as well, alongside a little bit of news. So we all know Ethereum Classic is coming out with their Emerald wallet real soon. They also have a project, a mystery project. Who knows what it is? I tried to find out, but I can't. What is Gravity? So I think what is Gravity is going to be something that's going to draw the line a little bit deeper in the sand as far as differentiating Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. So that's why I think Ethereum Classic is a good buy.
Now, hold on. On when you say fundamentals, are you talking about the mining aspect, or the hashing rate? What exactly are your fundamentals?
No, as far as fundamentals, it comes down to use cases, what it is that they're trying to do. Do I think that it's possible for them to accomplish what it is that they're trying to do with the amount of funds that they have? So it's a couple different things. It basically comes down to what the coin is.
Okay. All right.
And another one would have to be Lisk. I think Lisk is very, very undervalued. They're also coming out with their SDK. So Ethereum Classic and Lisk are both coming out with their SDK.
All right. How about coins? How about coins that you would dump? Like they're worthless. You want to dump them and trade them for Classic and Lisk. What coins would that be?
So if we're gonna do that, let me quickly go to CoinMarketCap and run down the list real quick.
All right.
Coins that I think are gonna dump.
You want to share your screen with us?
Okay, yeah, let's do that. All right, so coins that I think are gonna dump. I think Ripple's gonna dump. I think Ripple is up a little bit too high. Coins that I think is gonna continue to dump. I think IOTA is definitely gonna dump. I think the Internet of Things. I think we're a couple years away from that. So whoever's holding that, you're gonna have to hold on really strong for multiple years.
Yeah, if you notice on the ticker symbol on that, it says M IOTA, as in millions of IOTA.
Yes.
So
this
there's
number,
like
yes,
100 billion, 100 million billions IOTA. Is that right?
Yes, I think it's called like something like a peta, something a peta. I'm not exactly sure how
it's a petas of IOTA.
Yes. So each one of these, so this number right here, which is 3, this represents 3 million IOTAs. People think that there's just 2 billion of them. No, the number is
there's 2 billion IOTAs or something. Is that there's something ridiculous like that?
It's something they say with a petas. Like it's a number. It's
2 billion petas.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So it's something like that.
Okay, please continue. I just want to emphasize that.
Yes, definitely. So it's not 37 cents for 1 IOTA. It's 37 cents for 1 million IOTA. And it makes sense for what they're trying to do, because it can't just be it can't be less IOTA than there are people in the world when they're trying to do the Internet of Things. So it has to be a really big number. So that kind of makes sense. But I think that we're far away from that. So I think IOTA will continue to dump. BitShares and Steam. These are I think the only reason that these pumped up mainly is because of Dan's coming out with the whole EOS. So people are trying to jump into anything that he's attached to. But I think Steam and BitShares will continue to dump, and I think that right now they're like rough drafts, and I think they're gonna stay rough drafts for a long time because he's gonna have a lot of attention on EOS. So I think BitShares and Steam are definitely gonna dump. Yeah, I mean, the rest of them I would have to get into some technicals. I want to say Veritasium is going to dump because it's up a little bit too high, in my opinion. I like Reggie Middleton. He's definitely, I look at him as, he's definitely a really smart guy, somebody to try to emulate. But I think the coin is up a little bit too high. So I'm going to stop it there.
Okay, that was a good list. That's a good list. I mean, you know, it's not always about prices going up, because at some point, some of these prices are gonna start deviating. They can't always, you know, go up and go down uh, at the same time. Sometimes you got to cut some of your losses if you have any of those coins, and try to get into the winners. All right, let me go to Brian here real quick. And then Brian, what I know you're not you don't trade a lot, and you're not you don't do too much technicals, but what coins do you see in the future as for yourself that probably will you know go up in value here, and what coins do you think are going to take a dump?
Okay. Well, continuing to go up. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin.
You love those coins.
I love Dogecoin, and we all know Bitcoin and Litecoin are awesome. Litecoin is so undervalued, it's not funny. You should buy lots of that if you can. I would say what's going to take a dump is Ethereum. So any Ethereum replacement, such as, and I say replacements, and it doesn't make sense because the first thing I'm going to say is Ethereum Classic. We all know Ethereum is the replacement, but anyway, Ethereum Classic, Lisk, Waves, all those three are going to go up when Ethereum goes down. So you should get into those now. What else is going to take a dump? Most of the ICOs are going to take a dump. When
Well, that'd
Ethereum,
be Ethereum, of course.
yeah, and Ethereum related products. We'll just
Well,
put it that way.
it makes sense. It makes sense for them to lose value. Although I think they're going to be the reason why Ethereum may go down, because eventually all these projects want to cash out. They may never make any project. They may never complete their project, but they definitely want to cash out. So at some point, they already lost a few $1 billion just holding on to their coins, the Ethereum coins. So at some point, they want to cash out. They got to dump that onto the market. So there may be some reason for that we haven't considered. Okay. Well, this is where I like to address the audience. What maybe some people in the chat can tell us what coins they think are going to pump, and I'll read them out, are going to be going up in value, and I'll read them out. So while we wait for your answers, I'll give you my take on some. I'll give you my take from what I've seen so far. I'll start off with Bitcoin because that's my main focus. From what I've seen, it doesn't look like Bitcoin is in a downturn. It hasn't quite turned yet. I look at the weekly chart, and so far, what I've seen is a bounce on. I think it may be the 10 or the 15-day moving average, or the 10-period moving average. I look on a weekly, so that would be the 15 or 10 candlestick average weighted. And so what I've noticed is that it's the price coming down hit the short-term average on. I do mostly do my chart analysis on Bitcoin Wisdom, and let me see if I can screen share. Hold on here. I'm gonna try screen share and see if I can, do Bitcoin Wisdom Bitstamp. Loading up here. So let's see. I'm going to go to the weekly here. But if you see that right there, it's on weekly. It's hitting up against the touch. It dipped a little bit below, but it looks like if it can support, if it can have a support there at the moving average on the weekly, I think there's a good chance that we can get a bounce. But if it does bounce from there, it has to go above 3,000. It has to go. If it doesn't break above 3,000, I think we're going to start into a downtrend, and that's my greatest fear. So I don't know if 2x SegWit 2x is going to push it up higher. I don't know what other event that's going to happen, or just plain SegWit without the 2 megabyte hard fork. Whatever it is, there's something that has to happen that has to push this price of Bitcoin above 3,000. And then what I would say, if there's some good news to whatever, there's some positive news, it will push above 3,000. And my next target price is 5,000. But if it can't break above 3,000, then we've come short from breaking out. I'm going to say this. I think this is a 25 period average. This is on a weekly chart right here, and that comes out around 16. Around 16. Let me see if we can get closer to what it is. Yeah, 1600. It's probably going to drop down to 1600 if we can't break another all-time high, because on an uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, that's an uptrend. On a downtrend or a beginning of a downtrend, you're going to see that the price is not going to make a newer high. It's going to come short, and then it's going to start making a lower low, and that low would be right about here on this red candlestick at 2100. So if it breaks down below 2100, I think that's the beginning of a bear market. And if that's the beginning of the bear market on Bitcoin, that's probably going to be the bear market on all the other altcoins that are coming out. And basically, I use Bitcoin as that indicator. I use Bitcoin as that indicator, and so that's what I look for as a signal. Other altcoins that other than Bitcoin, that I always have a time frame on how I see things. I always give it 5 years. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned that way. Probably am, compared to a lot of people in crypto. But another coin that's coming up to 5 years that's had a good history is Litecoin, and that's about where I stop. Okay, that's my long term. I'm very conservative, but if people have the money to invest in those two, probably into those coins long term, I think they'll do very well. Now, the coins that I think that are not going to do well, I think overall the fundamentals tell me that there's probably going to be a bear market if Bitcoin doesn't break above 3,000. And the reason I say that, I think, is the psychology is people can't afford one Bitcoin. I have people on my show tell me that, and I think there's some truth to it. There's a psychological conception that they can't afford one Bitcoin, so they want to buy one Ethereum when Ethereum was like $20. Now they're going down to a lower tier altcoin, to basically all these different coins that are in the pennies or in the dollars. Well, if you look at the fundamentals of those coins, a lot of people who are mining these coins, the miners are going to be the downward pressure. And if you see my last episode where I actually spoke with a miner, a lot of these coins are mined with GPUs, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They're more energy. They're not energy intensive, so there's not much electricity. And plus, they point their miners to any GPU algorithm that makes the most profit. And at some point, they're not going to mine forever and hold on to these coins, because they want their Lambo, they want their Lamborghini, they want to pay off their house. It's not sustainable to keep paying the electricity bill, upgrading to the equipment. And not only that, the price of these GPUs have gone up and they're sold out. That should be the first indicator that there's a lot of people mining, and not all of them are going to hold onto their coins. They're going to dump. And so there's going to be downward pressure on all these altcoins because of that. And if you see my previous episode with Digital Gold, he doesn't hold on to all these coins. Eventually, some of these coins get into Bitcoin. He converts them to Bitcoin, and then eventually he holds on to the Bitcoin. So the whole point of mining altcoins is to get Bitcoin. So eventually, that fundamental is going to take effect on all these altcoins at some point. So I would say most
Proof of stake.
altcoins. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Except the proof of stakes.
Yes.
A lot of crypto, a lot of the altcoins are now moving towards proof of stake.
But even then, I mean, there's pressure. There's pressure to eventually sell. I mean, you go to a proof of stake that increases the supply. That's going to drive the price down. Eventually, people are going to see that, and they're going to sell. And if you know anything about proof of stake, it's just like the U.S. dollar. The more and more supply there is, the value goes down. People are going to be forced to sell to go into something else, to probably Bitcoin if you're talking about cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, maybe even actually a house. Turn their virtual currency into a house.
Yeah, there's always going to be downward pressure to profit. As far as trading and even investing, I always tell people to buy yourself something physical. When you have a nice big trade, not off of every trade, but sometimes when you have a nice trade or a nice investment, buy yourself something physical. So every time that you look at that physical object, you can, it's like a reminder to say that that you are good at it, or it is possible for you to profit off of this. So there's always going to be downward pressure from people wanting to sell and get material things or to get more investments.
Yes, and I'm coming from a background of, I trade peer to peer, and so the only thing I know I can turn into cash or even trade for, whatever it be, if it be guns, if it be drugs, or whatever it is, or a service, okay, it doesn't matter. What I found is it's going to be Bitcoin. People want Bitcoin. Of all the coins out there, Bitcoin, and maybe Litecoin. Maybe people can turn their Litecoin into Bitcoin with SegWit, with the Lightning Network. Perhaps in the future, but right now it's Bitcoin. Until then, I haven't seen any altcoin. I know there's a lot of altcoins trying. Dash is making a huge effort into breaking into that market of peer-to-peer, but it seems like they're not really interested in doing the peer-to-peer. From what I can tell, they're more interested in trying to work with a centralized system with their decentralized token. Now in my opinion, that defeats the whole purpose, because if you use a decentralized token where you control the private keys, and then you rely on a centralized institution to cash out, I mean, that just defeats the whole purpose of even having a cryptocurrency. What other coin is? There's not that many coins. I mean, Ethereum is, in my opinion, completely centralized, and I would even say to some degree somewhat sold out. And they've sold out to the centralized system. So even if you use Ethereum, there's no point in even having Ethereum. You might as well just go back into stocks. The only reason I see Ethereum being used is literally to do these ICOs, in which I think, I personally believe that it's just a house of cards. Eventually, it's going to come down. So I'm not personally optimistic with ICOs. So that's my opinion. I don't know if anybody else has any comments or questions to say. Hello?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it. I mean, I agree with a lot of you, with a lot that you said. I personally don't think that every ICO is a scam. I don't have that belief. I do think that ICOs do have a use case. I do think it's kind of gotten a little bit out of hand. I said that on Adam Meister's show when it was me, Leon Fu. Yeah, so I said the same thing. People are just blindly throwing money at some of these things. But I think that if the ICO model, like the Civic ICO was conducted very professionally, in my opinion. So there is a good use case for ICOs, and especially when it was done how Civic did it. Because even if a coin doesn't have an ICO and they have a straight launch where where you have to mine it straight out of the, I want to say the ground, but you know what I mean. But it could still be very unfair, because someone could have a upper hand as far as knowing.
Are you talking about insider trading going on, like putting
I
more
want to say
Ethereum gas to get there to
insider
get at the
mining.
front of the line?
I want to say insider mining. You know, just like
Insider mining. Well, they
yeah.
don't mine. They just create. So it's basically insider trading at that point.
No, I mean, it's that they just create. That's far as the ICOs, you know, like with some Ethereum ICOs, a lot of Ethereum ICOs have been accused of whitelisting addresses. So they already have a set specific addresses that they're going to let in first. And obviously, those are a lot of Ethereum insiders. But the same,
Do you know what a rat hole is? Do you ever heard of that term, rat hole?
a rat hole, no.
Okay, that's a insider trading kind of thing. A rat hole is someone you know, a friend, a family, a cohort, that you basically allow them. You know, you provide them either inside access or information, right?
Okay.
And then what they do is practically under your direction, all right? They cash out or they profit, and then what they're really doing is giving the cash to you as a kickback, or they're under your direction. That's what a rat hole is called. And so basically you're trying to circumvent pretty much regulation to profit off of insider trading. So allowing your friends and your family or people specifically to profit from knowledge that you have or access of information or even access to the coins, so they could get the coins and dump them out in the market first. That is what I would call a rat hole. And I think there's some strong correlation where they're probably getting paid or they're a part of it. And that's similar to what happened with Martha Stewart when she went to jail because her broker told her some insider information and she acted. All she did was act on that information. And so I think there's a lot of that going on, and that's very common. That's why a lot of people went to jail for insider trading. And this is all unregulated. So what's stopping from a creator or a developer allowing some of their friends to come in on the ICO first and getting those coins first before anybody else?
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. Once Ethereum hard forked, all right, they proved two things. They proved that they have sole control over the Ethereum platform. So Ethereum is not decentralized how a lot of people think. Once they hard forked in the fashion that they did, without a vote, without anything, with just Vitalik coming out and saying that, you know, they want a hard fork, they proved that they have sole control over the platform. And they also proved that not only do they have sole control over it, but they also proved that they had money invested into it as well. So,
all right, I want to read some of the comments from the chat that said that the price of these particular coins are going to go up. Let me first start here up on the top. Someone said Decred, buy Decred, okay? And another one is the XRP. Didn't someone say that was going to take? I think you, Shagadan, you said that was going to take a dump. Ethereum Classic.
I think, yeah.
Ethereum Classic is going to go up from Carlos. Lisk. Ethereum Classic. Bitcoin, Litecoin. Oh, Ozzy's in here. Hey, we just saw you, man. How you doing?
Hey, Ozzy.
Let me see here. Bitcoin and Decred. Steam. Who said Steam? Give me a break, man. Litecoin, Bitcoin, Decred, and Purecoin. Steam, XRP, Litecoin, Lisk, and Litecoin. Let's see what else here. A Burst. All right. Now, towards the end here, I'm going to ask the audience list the coins that are going to be dumped or are going to go down in value, and then we'll do our last bit here. On talking here. So let me see here. Danny, please tell tell everyone just a little bit about yourself. We didn't really get that chance to at the beginning, and then tell people how they can find you.
Sure. So as I said before, if you want to find my YouTube channel, you could check it out. YourLegitGamingVids. You can check me out on there. That's where I post most of my content. I mean, I have Steam too. If you guys want to follow me on there, it's YLGV, and mainly I post my videos on there, or just if I make quick little blog post about a coin's price and stuff like that. I've been on YouTube since 2012, but I've mostly been doing crypto videos just for the past few months and gone into crypto within the last like 6 months or so.
Excellent. And your information's in the note on your channel. So if anybody wants to contact you, I'm sure they can find out all your other contacts and subscribe to you as well. So, and Shaka Daniel, please tell people a little bit about you. We didn't really get into in the beginning on that. And then also tell them how we can, how everybody can find you.
All right. Well, I've been involved in cryptocurrency going on 3 years now. I originally found out about Bitcoin. I was looking into different ways to store. I think I was looking into, was it a good idea to buy physical silver? And then, you know, you start to see gold versus Bitcoin. That was like the first step of me getting into it. Like Tone asked, I am a poker player, so I was around for the whole Full Tilt, Poker Stars, Carbon Poker. I was around for all of those sites. I used to play a lot of poker, so that's when I really found out. First saw Bitcoin, and you know, you can make a deposit onto these sites with Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin was like maybe not even $10 yet, and I just ignored it, you know, because I was just focusing on playing poker. And then, you know, in maybe around late 2014, 2015, I found out about Bitcoin. I got into Bitcoin. I bought a Bitcoin the same week I bought a Trezor device. A year later, I started a YouTube channel. So I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of different. I've been through the whole. Oh, let me try to mine Bitcoin, you know, and I've been through a couple mining phases.
Are you gonna do that hard drive staking coins and hard drive mining? Are you gonna try that out? That seems to be really easy.
No. As far as like what
like Burst seems to be
like yeah,
hard drive mining, and then what Pivx is a staking coin. What other red coin seems to be another one that popped up that's a staking coin.
Yeah,
and
no, I much throughout all this, my technical analysis has gotten I think pinpoint. You know, technical analysis isn't perfect, but I definitely think my technical analysis skills have gotten to the point where I much rather either trade. I don't buy any more Bitcoin. You know, when I started buying Bitcoin, Bitcoin was $210. I don't buy Bitcoin anymore. I bought a few Bitcoin back when it was $210, but I don't buy Bitcoin anymore. Now I just take the Bitcoin that I have. I try to make my positions surgical, and jump into cryptocurrencies, not off of news solely, but off of price action and in a combination with news. So where you guys can find me, I have a YouTube channel. I've done a couple videos, interviews with NXT, interviews with Stratus, interviews with Waves, on Ty Zen's channel, Ty Zen and Leon Fu. They gave me a chance early on in my YouTube creation beginning. I've done some videos with Adam Meister. I have my own channel. It's called Chase That Coin. You guys can also follow me on Twitter at Chase That Coin. Right now, I do one-on-one personal cryptocurrency trading lessons. If you are interested in those, contact me, chasethatcoin@gmail.com. And James, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, man, and appreciate you coming on and providing your knowledge and opinion. It really makes a difference here. And then your information can be found in the notes section. It's a direct link to your YouTube channel. And let me mention some of the coins that people think will dump. Let's see if I can go down the list here. Yellow Fever, you're a little late, but you said buy Pepe. So let me see here. What coins will dump? Let me see. Someone says Doge. Someone said Bitcoin, Potcoin, Titcoin will dump. What else? All ERC20 tokens down. Now that's all the ICO tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. What else here? Bitcoin on Coinbase will dump. Burst is a joke. Burst. All right. All right. Those are some of the coins that people say will dump. Okay, Brian, and people already know you, but tell us something what you're doing interesting this time, and how people can get in contact with you.
People can get in contact with me. I have a YouTube channel. It's just my name, Brian McLaughlin. I'm on social media. If you want to go to Twitter, I don't even tweet or send anything out much anymore. That's because I'm busy making that new film that I talked about an episode or two ago. Appointed, the George H. Murray story.
Yeah, when is that going to be done, and how is that going to be rolled out? Is that's an independent film that you're producing, making, acting, all this stuff? How's it going to be deployed and distributed?
Well, right now we're in the midst of actual production. We got to go through post, obviously, so it's going to be a while before it's complete. As far as distribution goes, the film is currently working on its distribution. There are a bunch of different platforms we've been discussing, but this is the second film in a trilogy about the three pastors of the Mount Pisgah Church in Brooklyn, the founder, the second pastor about whom we're making the current film, and then their current pastor about whom the third film will be.
Excellent. And your information, your link to your channel is also down in the notes section. And of course, I am James Bond. Thank you everyone in the chat for sticking around. I appreciate it. Please hit that like button. Also subscribe. And until next time, stay tuned, everyone. Bye.
All right, bye. Thank